What's up YouTube, my name is Marvin Aziz, I'm a freelance developer and today I want to show you 3 custom cursor examples you can either build by yourself or simply copy and paste them into your own projects. So without further ado, let's jump into the first one. In the end of this video, you are going to learn how to build this beautiful custom cursor yourself. So make sure to stick around until the very end of this video and learn how to build this beautiful custom cursor in Webflow. All the custom cursor animations we're going to check out today are actually clonables. I've prepared all the links in the description, so if you want to check them out, feel free to open the description and click the links below. The first one is this magnetic call to action by Dhruv Sachdev. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. This guy from Spain actually put a lot of value into this really small component. Let's check it out. As you can tell, it's a beautiful custom cursor animation, 2 circles following one another. And as soon as you hover over the button, you can see the little magnetic button effect. Also remarkable text animation floating around the button, which is achieved with a JavaScript library called CircleType.js with just 16 lines of code. So if you have any experience at all using JavaScript, you're probably going to understand this one. Make sure to go behind the scenes, open this in Webflow and check out how he built this. This next example is value-packed as well. It is by Neron Kevin from Bordeaux, France. This guy obviously knows what he's doing. The custom cursor is very simple but subtle. You can tell if you have a closer look, the dot actually has a mixed blend mode, so it shows the difference in color. And as soon as you hover over a link element, it grows into a bigger circle, which is beautifully done. Nice and smooth over every link element. Plus, if you have had any experience with the standard Webflow slider, you know that to achieve something like this right here is probably a bit challenging, to be honest. So this guy actually used the Swiper.js library using the CMS, right? So he actually pulls the data from the Webflow CMS to display all of these tiles. Beautiful template. Make sure to hit that like up here and yeah, have a look behind the scenes. So I want to give you a bonus example. This one right here is built by Vladimir Kurbatov. I really hope I pronounced that correctly. He's from Prague. He actually built a collection. So you can jump on the side and actually see that he's got all these nice little custom cursor effects. For these, you actually don't need to use Webflow's interactions. You can simply copy and paste the code he provides right here. Copy that code, put it into your head tag of the page, and voila, you've got the custom cursor. And you can choose from all those different ones, right? Got a square. I think my favorite one is the cuter one. Looks kind of cute. Bing. So if you like that one, make sure to check this one out, give it a like and have a look behind the scenes as well. By the way, if you haven't yet, make sure to sign up for the Web to the Flow newsletter, as I am going to share 10 of my favorite clonables with you. All right, so let's get started. You can see that I have that newsletter section right here. We want to have that custom cursor instead of the mouse. So what I already did is actually on that wrapper right here, changed the cursor to display none. Why? Because I don't want the standard cursor to appear while I actually show the custom cursor. I'm going to hit Command E to create a new div block, and I'm going to call that custom cursor wrapper. And I want it to be fixed to the top of the screen. And in there, we're going to need 2 more wrappers. So this one's going to be custom cursor, let's call it inner. And another one called custom cursor outer. All right. So let's start with the other one. I want it to be 10 pixels wide, the height of 10 pixels as well. The color is supposed to be transparent black. I'm gonna give it a 50% border radius and use the backdrop filter down here to invert the color. Right, so you can already see it on the top left corner. For the outer wrapper, we're going to set it to, let's say, 90 pixels. Also 90 pixels in height. Same radius. Same backdrop filter. I'd actually like the custom cursor wrapper to display as flex and position it in the center. Also, I want the cursor itself to be positioned absolute for both of them. Okay, so that's the very basic beginning. So let's move on and actually animate these, because as you can tell, if I open the preview, there's nothing happening with those wrappers. So let's go ahead and click on that little lightning icon or press H and create a new page trigger. I want the animation to appear while the mouse is in viewport, right? I'm gonna disable it for anything but the desktop, and I want to play a new mouse animation. I'm going to call that custom cursor inner, because we are going to separate both. Like you have seen before, the inner custom cursor was actually a bit quicker than the outer version. So that's why I'm going to separate those ones. So go ahead and click that inner custom cursor and choose the action move. I want to apply it to classes to make it reusable on all pages later on. So the top animation is going to define how it's supposed to react to mouse actions on the x-axis, right? So if it's moving left and right, how should the wrapper behave? And I wanted to move on the x-axis as well. So let's give it a 50 minus 50 viewport width from the start. So at 0%, it's going to be on the left side. For 100%, I want to give it 50 viewport width. So it's on the right side. We are going to do almost the same with the y-axis. So let's start at minus 50 VH this time. So viewport height, the height of the viewport. And move on to the last one. Give it a 50 viewport height. So we are going to do almost the same with the y-axis. We are going to start at 0 viewport height, so VH, right? Why 0? Because we fixed that custom cursor wrapper to the top, right? So at 0%, it's supposed to be at 0 viewport height. And at 100%, it's supposed to be at 100 viewport height. Okay, so, and obviously change it to the class. Let's actually preview that. And as you can tell, the inner custom cursor is already following like we wanted to. Perfect. Okay, save that, close it. Let's actually create another one. So select the page trigger as move in viewport. Create a new animation. and let's call it CC outer. And for this, I'm going to select the outer wrapper and do the same on the x-axis. Choose -50 viewport width to 50 viewport width. By the way, I'm choosing -50 and 50 because we centered the custom cursor wrapper in the middle, right? So it's supposed to go to -50 and 50 if we go from left to right. Same for top to bottom. We got to think about where the wrapper is positioned, and it's positioned to the top. So it starts at 0, so 0 viewport height again, and goes all the way to 100 viewport height, VH. And that should actually do the job. Let's see it in action. All right. So as you can see, the custom cursor is working like expected. What I'd like to add is actually, first of all, I want to make the circle a bit smaller. And also I'd like the outer wrapper to be a bit slower than the inner wrapper. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So the outer custom cursor animation is supposed to have a smoothing of, let's say, maybe 80%. And that inner animation, let's give it a 0%. Okay. Actually, let's give it a 1% to avoid that jump. Yes, way better. Also, let's make the circle, the outer one, a bit smaller. Maybe 60. Yeah, looks really nice to me. So let's move on with the text animation as soon as we hover over the button, right? For that, we're going to need another div inside the inner wrapper, right? So let's create a div in there. And I'm going to call it CC inner text wrapper. All right. It's supposed to have a width of, let's say, 100 and a height of 100 pixels. And I want to give it some padding. Not so much. Yeah, something like that. I am going to make it a circle as well, so border radius of 50%. And I like the background color to be something fancy. Yeah, maybe that pink purplish right here. And in there, I'm going to add a text element. Yeah, a text link doesn't make any sense, so let's remove that. Text block, that's what I'm looking for. Let's put that text block in that wrapper. Let's say, yeah, for signing up. And let's give that wrapper a flex, display, and position everything in the middle, right? The text, let's give the text a color of white. And for the start, let's transform that whole wrapper to scale down to 0. All right, so it's not visible at all. Okay, so for it to appear while we hover over another element, I'm going to create a hover animation for that specific button. So if you want to have it more general, you can obviously just create a class for that button, which you are going to be able to reuse afterwards, right? So let's create another animation. I'm going to create a mouse hover animation on element trigger. And on hover, let's create a new animation. I'm going to call that CC button hover in. I am going to select the text wrapper, create a new action, and scale. I'm going to set it to the initial state. And on purpose, I'm choosing the class right here. Okay. I'm going to put it to 0 as is. And I'm going to duplicate that one. So let's say within 0.3 seconds, with a nice little ease in, it's supposed to grow to a 1. Yeah, looks good to me. And we're almost going to do the same thing for the hover out animation. So let's make it easy for us right here and simply duplicate the animation we just created and change it to hover out. Delete the first action and simply put the scale back down to 0 right here. For this one, I'm gonna choose a ease out, even though you probably won't be able to see it, but well. Also, I'm gonna disable it for anything but the tablet because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. So right here, you have the opportunity to actually make it reusable, right? So you can either have the trigger only on that element right here, or you can simply choose the class. So if you have multiple buttons all over your page with the same class, you can check that one and it will happen for all those buttons, right? So let's leave it like that and actually preview what we just built. So hover, the custom cursor is working fine. Let's actually hover over that element. And you can tell that it's trying to show me that text bubble, but it's not working properly. Why is it not working properly? Because the mouse is actually on top of the custom cursor and it's not hovering over the button, right? So if I'm quick enough, I'm able to see it for a glimpse, but yeah, that's not what we want. And there's a really simple fix for that. So remember, we called that wrapper cc_wrapper, and now we're going to add an embed element. And within there, we're going to write only one line of CSS. So if you have no clue about CSS, don't worry, just you are going to be able to copy and paste that code into your website. But if you do, I'm gonna briefly explain what I do right here. So first of all, I want to target the CC wrapper class, right? So whatever you named your class like, that's supposed to go in there. After that, I'm going to open those brackets and put in what I wanted to do. So as soon as the mouse is on top of that wrapper, I don't want it to do anything, right? So let's actually see if that works. Boom. And just like that, with one line of code, we fixed it. And it's beautiful, right? Imagine how much you can do with it. For example, if you have a portfolio or so, you can hover over it and yeah, show like a custom label or something. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you haven't yet, check out the webtotheflow.com website and sign up for the newsletter. I am going to share a lot of valuable content with you guys to get even better at Webflow. It's real easy. You just put in your first name here and your email down there. Click that little checkbox and subscribe. It's completely free. So I'm excited to, see you guys sign up. See you in the next one.